techniques in our counseling.
Hmm.
So I talk a lot about my insecurities, my fears. When I work with people who have phobias, or I talk about my phobia of heights, my phobia of turbulence in a flight. I talk about my fear of deep water, how I have been kind of trying to use all my so-called techniques to calm myself down when there is
That makes you
a
more human,
crisis.
right?
Yes,
Otherwise,
yes,
it's
yeah.
like a robot. If you're not scared, you don't have any phobias, you don't have any insecurity, then you are more or less like a robot or a
Yes,
Sant Mahatma who
yes,
has left everything.
yeah. So I think, yeah, as you said, it does make you human, grounded, connected, and I think
Yes,
it's a journey.
true, true.
It is a journey. So yeah. So looking forward
Ma'am,
to
we'll
this.
start at 5 o'clock. Is that
Sure,
okay?
sure. Yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah. So in
We
case
can.
there is something you need to do, I can keep my video
Yeah,
off once
I'll
people are
just send
around.
a message. Yeah, I'll send a message on our group that
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
about to start in five
Sure,
minutes.
sure,
Okay, ma'am?
sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Lena, if possible, can you mute your computer because I can hear the background. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone. Sorry for the delay.
Shalini ma'am is here. I just told her I'm sending WhatsApp messages to
Ah,
all.
sure, sure.
We'll be starting in another 3 minutes.
Hello everyone. Thank you for joining in. We'll be starting soon. Thank you for coming in on time. Thank you.
So this is the Google form link. In case someone has any questions, they can put it in right now. Whichever questions we had till yesterday, we have put it up, as in yesterday afternoon, we have put it up. But in case there are a few more that you would like to ask, we'll first take along the questions that were already asked to us. And then we will go about taking the live questions. You can put it up on the form. I will read it out for you so that your anonymity is maintained and ma'am will be able to answer. All right. So don't worry. We're not going to ask you to unmute yourself or ask your questions. You can always ask in the form and I will take up those questions later. All right. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, hi, Nina. How are you?
Maya, that's
Very
Maya,
good.
ma'am. I'm Srila.
Oh, yeah, Maya, Maya. I'm very bad with names.
That's
Hi, Maya.
okay.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. I'm doing
You
good. How
both
are
are
you?
doing wonderful, wonderful job. I feel
God's
so
grace,
proud
ma'am.
of you.
All God's grace.
So proud of you. I think people need to know more about your story.
God will show the way.
Yes, of course. See, you are here, right? I connected with you long back, and you still are thriving very well. Is itself, I would say, uh, sign that you are definitely progressing and people are becoming more aware of your work. You're reaching out.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's
With
nice.
God's grace, we've been able to help many and hope to
Yeah,
continue
yeah.
doing so for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, as this intentions, right? When the intentions are right, we'll
Yes.
definitely find.
Yes. Yes. I totally, totally believe in that. I think every single thing we do, I see, Bhagwan ji ki daya
Uh,
in every single thing.
right.
Every single thing.
Nice,
I
nice.
think.
That's good. I think we both are very similar. Maybe Sheila also would have the same mindset.
Yeah.
Yes,
Else,
yes, of course. The core beliefs are all the same.
same, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It's nice.
So, ma'am, should we start?
Yeah,
Yes,
you
I'm
can
at your
start.
disposal, Sheila.
Okay, we will be recording only the questions and the answers. We are not recording the audiences. So please don't worry. Your names will not come at all in any of the places. It is just Shalini ma'am has been pinned. So it is she who will be shown just answering the questions. All right. And like I said, if anybody has any more queries, they can always put it up in the form so that the anonymity is maintained. I am resending the form. One. We will first be asking questions that have already been asked, like by yesterday, because whoever sends the questions first gets their answers first, and then we will be getting on to the other questions asked later on yesterday and today. Okay. So, ma'am, coming with the getting on with the first question. It has become very hard to stay motivated and work for what I want. And this fact stresses me out. Now I always feel like I won't be able to make it. So, how do I think the person wants to know how do I go about
Okay, yeah.
overcoming this? Yes.
Yeah, so this has been a very common problem, I would say. In my practice, I do get a lot of people saying they have different issues. Some say I'm not able to stay motivated. I get cases where people say I procrastinate a lot. Recently, I had a case where a very young man, a young adult, was sharing his experience where he feels a complete sense of inaccomplishment because he has never been able to start and finish anything, be it a book, be it any of the hobbies he has taken. And that used to make him feel very, very sad, low, and depressed. So now, how do we stay motivated? What to do and how to be at it? Now, the first thing which always helps is have a very clear goal about what do you want to do, because many a times we start a work, we do work, but we do not know where to start, how to start, and how to keep at it. So have a very clear goal about it. Also, what helps is when you have a purpose attached to your work. Why are you doing what you are doing? When there is a sense of purpose attached to what you're doing, it becomes a very beautiful journey. Now, let us talk about you, Srila, and your sister, right? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? There is a purpose attached to it. The moment the purpose is attached, even if it is a small or a big purpose, you see yourself feeling more energetic, more motivated to be able to do it. Also, what helps is in severe cases, let us say people come to me with highest level of procrastinations. So what I suggest is break your the task to 3-4-3, that is 30-40-30. 30-40 will be the planning, the start, right? Because many a times what happens is people say that, oh, ma'am, I have a starting problem. But once I'm able to start, I'm able to finish. There are people who say, I start with a bang, in the middle, I'm like lost. I also get people who say that I start, I'm kind of okay, but when it comes to finishing it, I am kind of all lost. So I always suggest have a 30-40-30 approach where you know that which part of the task, part 1, part 2, part 3, is going to be your weaker one. If you are a good planner, then you are at it, right? 30% is solved. When you feel that when you have planned and when you have started properly, but in the middle is when you will have the momentum goes down, the energy is not as much as you would want to, attach some rewards to it. Tell yourself that, you know what, I am going to finish this chunk today, end of day, and after that I am going to reward myself. Reward reinforcer, the whole human psychology is based on that, and it does help a lot. If there are people who are not a very good finisher, the last 30%, again I attach a reward to it. How about when I finish the 30%, the 40%, I bask in that. Okay, I have finished it. How about the last part where I have to give myself up because I know I'm not going to be somebody who is going to be a good finisher. So I push myself because I'm very aware and mindful. And so I push, I attach some rewards, I look at the whole, the bigger picture, the purpose, why I'm doing it. Why am I allotted a project which I do not like doing it, but still I have to do? Because this is my bread and butter. This is something which is going to attach me to bigger dreams of life, a good house, a good life, a good holiday. So there is a purpose. Don't think that you are the only one who is not motivated or who is not having enough scope of doing what they're passionate about. We all are somewhere, one or the other way, tied to the same old feeling. So have a good reward system, have different chunks, identify the chunk where you are good, where you are lacking the energy, reward yourself in those areas, always plan, have a purpose. I hope it solves your query.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Now, the next question is how to be okay with losing friends. I have tried reconnecting with old friends, but they didn't show any interest in reconnecting. At this point, I'm completely friendless and it feels so low.
Now, losing a friend can be difficult. But then I have also heard, we all have heard this, ah, you are your best friend. Books can be your best friend. But come on, you know what? To have human friends is a need, it is an intrinsic need. So we all need friends in our life. Books are our friends, yes, but we all need a friend by our side. Now, losing a friend can be very troubling, can be heartbreaking, can make you feel very lonely. Now, why is it happening? This question brings me to a case which I was handling last year. This was a girl who was majoring in psychology, third year in psychology. So this girl came to me with the presenting problem we talk about. The presenting problem was that, ma'am, I've been feeling very sad, depressed. But when we dive deeper into it, we realize that she has had a pattern. The pattern was when, I think from eighth standard onwards, she would have a way of interacting with her friends. What would it would be was she will go mingle with a new group of friends. They will become very very intimate. They will be sharing everything. Suddenly something will happen, and she would lose track of the friendship. And the same pattern was repeating again and again and again. And now she was in majoring in psychology, and this repetition made her feel that she has never had a good friendship who she was able to blossom with, and there was nobody who she can go back to. So now, friendship, I'm not saying friendships are transactional, but in a friendship, in a relationship, you are a giver and you are a getter. Think deeper, look deeper. Are you somebody who is only giving, not getting, or are you somebody who is only getting, not giving? There has to be a balance. There has to be a balance. So look into that. Are you somebody who is not able to do or give what the other partner or the friend is wanting? Or are you somebody who has been so overwhelming for the other person that they, after some point in time, do not want to be with you? Because it's a fact that people who are meant to be with you, they'll come back to you, whatever happens. So you look at the giver and the getter concept. Second thing is, if it has happened and if it is happening again and again, give time to yourself, introspect yourself, look into your strong points, look into your communication skills also. Because when we talk about communication skills, a lot of things comes into picture. It's not only about what I am talking, it's also about what I'm not talking, which is through my non-verbal communication. So a friendship, I'm not saying your non-verbal communication can break or make a friendship, no. But when we look at a pattern, these all are also very important markers. Also, try to be a giver, then a getter. And when we start doing that, when we start becoming a giver, we realize that we are getting a lot. End of the day, when I'm reaching out to old friends, reaching out genuinely, heart to heart, and I still see that they are not coming back to me, not reciprocating me, I think just have to close the door, however painful it might be. That relationship, the friendship has expired, as they say. There are a few things which have an expiry date. But the key word here is the giver and the getter and the non-verbal cues also. I hope I
Yes, ma'am.
justified.
Very well said. Very well put. That friendship is all about balance, giving as well as getting.
Thank you.
So I sometimes have suicidal thoughts, but the thought of my parents stop me. I don't know what is happening to me and what should I do, I think is what the person wants to ask.
Yeah. Yeah. So now this having suicidal thoughts, this is something which definitely needs to be handled professionally. The first thing is reach out to a professional. Definitely, if there is a family who you can take help of, who can make you reach out to a professional, will be very important. But many a times, we kind of shy away from telling, or we are very fearful of the biases or the comments being, talked about, or okay, I'm having such feelings. Okay, I'll be judged as somebody who's very weak. I'll be judged as somebody who has a flaw in the personality. Now, having such feelings can be also a marker of certain other conditions, mental health conditions. So a professional help is very much needed. Also, what can help is if we get somebody who we can connect with, who can we trust. Talk to them, confide in them. So it's not possible that all of us have somebody or the other who we can confide in. If we can, that is well and good. Talk about that. What also helps is a regular schedule of good exercise, balanced diet, good sleep, lesser distractions. Because many a times when we are not centered and balanced, we might have certain feelings which are not very good for our own mental well being, for our own health, or for our own safety. Reaching out to professionals will be very, very needed. Also, journaling helps. Now, journaling and suicide, people might be very astonished at hearing this, but also when we are journaling, we are able to let down, we are able to express our thoughts, because not always is possible that I have somebody who I can confide on without being biased, without being discriminated, without being talked about. So when I'm journaling, I'm able to segregate my thoughts. They have got a space where they are just being out without judgments. Half of the problem is solved because I've been able to journal. And as we progress on this path, I can see the person can see that they have got a more positive expression, a positive, healthy expression of their not so good thoughts, not so worrying thoughts, or suicidal thoughts. So the key point here is seeking professional help, maintaining a healthy schedule. Also, look deeper, think deeper as to, are there things which, because we have not been able to address myself, they are looking like big worries. Because worries, when addressed, worries, when talked about, actually turn out to be very small issues. They are not so big. It's just that we have been delaying, or we have been keeping it aside. They kind of aggravate and become the big balloon which we can never even achieve, or talk about. They in fact are not. So that also helps. But suicidal thoughts, professional help is definitely required. Reach out to others. In case any of you listening, any of you who know about people who are having it, even if you are not able to reach out to a professional, stay with them, be with them. I get many cases where I have got cases where, not many cases, but few which are very close to me in my heart. Because 2 years back, I got a call from somebody who had kind of, it's anonymous, so I can speak about it. The person had got everything in his mind, the letter was written, how to do it was written, everything was in his mind. And he just called me because I was his therapist. And he was like, Shalini ma'am, it is all done. I just thought I'll call you. The call lasted for 2 hours and 10 minutes. We still are in touch, and he always says that one call. So what do we do? We don't give the gyan, hey, don't do this. It's wrong for you. Think about your family. No, nothing. Just give your support. Just tell them that they mean a lot to people. Just be there. Just listen to them non-judgmentally. That helps. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. The non-judgmental part is
Is
so
is
important. It
Yeah,
is
yeah.
really, that is the basic bold 108 underline 32 whatever it
Yes.
is. It is the most
Yes.
important part, that one
Yeah.
needs to be non-judgmental at that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because most of the time we are so fearful. We are so
Yeah.
fearful and we are so ashamed or shy of being judged, being biased. Because most of the time I'll be giving gyan, I'll be getting gyan. Why are you
Yes.
doing this? It's not
Yeah.
a personality flaw, right? It is not. We all go through ups and downs. It's just a phase of life where your endurance is maybe for some reason little lesser. Not that it just sums up your life. It makes you a weak person. It makes you an escapist. It does not.
So, in case if that person who has written it is in this call, kindly do, if possible, send across a mail to us where you, which region or which part of India you are from, and we'll find a good psychologist or a psychiatrist for you. But do mail us at mindandpower2020 at gmail.com. All right. Okay. Next question. Does thinking of running away from home, abandoning friends and family also count as self harm?
Self harm lately, right? Self harm lately has been something which is becoming quite common in teenagers, I would say. Post COVID, I have been getting a lot of cases where I work with few schools, and it's not a very pleasant sight to see kids, girls, young girls and boys coming to your room with marks of cut or some scratches. So self harm itself is not a mental illness. It's not a mental health condition, but definitely it's a sign of mental distress. When I'm not able to cope up, when I think I do not have a control on anything, is when I resort to such things, right? So does thinking of running away from home or abandoning friend and family also count as self harm? I would say it yes, it is because I'm not harming myself physically, not in terms of physical, but yes, emotionally. Now, why do I think of running away from home? Why do I think of abandoning all my friends? Think deeper again. Have you been let down by people? Have you been let down by your friends? Do you think your friends, your family has never supported you? That is why you are in a state where you feel like closing the doors on them and just running away. Is it possible that you sit down and are able to communicate to them? Might be possible, might not be possible, or maybe more times not possible, because we one fine day we just do not end up in a state where I say, you know what, I'm going to close everything and run away. It might be a state where you have endured a lot, but if possible, talk about it, communicate to people who you feel like abandoning. Communication always helps. Communication is the key to solving many problems. I have in my experience, not only in my professional experience, also in my personal experience, felt that when we are able to communicate, half of the problem is solved, because most of our problems is either lack of communication or miscommunication. The moment you are able to communicate, the moment you are able to let the other person understand what I'm going through, or what has been told to me doesn't agree to me, doesn't go well with me, or things can be looked into a different perspective, many times issues are solved. Definitely, yes. So self harm, it's not a direct form of self harm, but it definitely is a kind of, I give you pain and I get pain kind of thing. And that itself is not a very happy situation to be in. How can we get away from this? Is by communication. Talk to people, talk to friends, talk to your family members. A feeling of being let down, being left alone, comes very clear message to me reading this question.
Sorry, I forgot I had muted it. Okay. How can I overcome social anxiety?
This is something I think I can talk for hours and hours, because social anxiety again is something which is, we are getting more and more cases of social anxiety. Reasons can be many. I have to look at the time limit also. Now, social anxiety affects different people in different ways. We have to understand it. Also, people who are anxious socially, they might feel that they're the only one. I'm the only one. Look at everyone around me. They all look so pleasant, they all look so comfortable. But you know what? We might be masking ourselves. I'm not masking, I'm nervous. Right now, I'm nervous. I don't know if I'm fumbling in between. It's okay. I'm anxious. I'm nervous, right? So, social anxiety is something which affects many people. Don't be let down by this thought that, oh, I'm socially anxious and others are not. Many others are also. It might be that they're masking it. Now, what happens in social anxiety is it is always, most of the times, a thought that others are looking at me or others are judging me or I'm making a fool of myself. Does this define you? It does not define you. It definitely does not define you. Look at the bigger picture. How you are in a social setup is not your definition, right? Sit down. What helps, what works very beautiful is talking to somebody who are closer to. Role plays helps. So what is a role play in social anxiety? Okay, now I have to go to a party and I'm very nervous about it. I have to go and speak on I have to speak for a minute and I'm really anxious about it. I have to go to my friend's engagement and I'm very nervous about it. So what do? I have somebody, my friend, my family, with whom I kind of role play that, you know what, I'm going to go there and I'll be doing such and such things. What happens with this? My mind is already rehearsing it. So all the associated feelings, emotions, my body symptoms, when I'm in the situation, is kind of rehearsed. My body already has had a short replay of that. That helps. What also helps is grounding technique. Grounding technique before the anxious situations. So, what is a grounding technique? Now, grounding technique is a very powerful tool in many of our situations, be it social anxiety, be it fears, be it phobias, be it many other situations. Grounding technique is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, when I'm in a situation where I'm very anxious, I sit down and look around at 5 things which I can see. So, what happens is I'm in a room, I'm anxious, or I have to go to a party and I'm very anxious. So, what do? My fears are only about, oh, I have to go, and I'll be making a fool of myself. I'm very, very scared. I just want to run away. I do not want to go. My whole thought process is there. Grounding techniques help you to take away all your focus from those worrying thoughts to 5 things which you can see around, 4 things which you can hear about. All the 5 senses. 5 things which you can see, 4 things which you can hear. What do you hear right now? I can hear my fans. Fan make a lot of noises these days. Maybe 3 other things which I can hear. 3 things which I can smell. Now, if we do not have something which you can smell, think about it. I think 2 weeks back, I was working with. I'm right now working with somebody who has had panic attacks, who has a history of panic attacks, and I've told him that whenever you get such episodes, call me. So the person, he's around 56. He called me around 9:30 p.m. So I was using the grounding technique. When I came to 3 as to Mr. So and so, tell me anything which you can smell. He said, right now I'm in a room, I have closed myself, but in the afternoon I had sambar rice and that smell of ghee. That's very strong still in my, I can still feel it, sense it, smell it. Anything which you can smell. 2 things which you can touch around. I can feel my cloth, I can feel the wall. One thing which you want to taste. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm spending time on this, Sheila, and you know why? Because 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique is very, very important. It helps us in overcoming lot of situations where we are very anxious. Also, what helps is deep breathing. Again, I'll give you an example of a person, an entrepreneur who was in Saudi Arabia. He was into food business. He had a couple of restaurants. He was the owner of restaurant, but he reached out to me saying that every single time he had to meet a new client, he would just feel like running away. And it had become so bad that his business kind of started suffering because his business was going good, but then all the meetings, everything was taking a beating. And then we started working together. We had reached a stage where you would not believe. Before his meeting, I used to request that you have to call me. We will do this grounding technique together, and I'll ask you to do all the breathing technique, deep breathing. So, what is deep breathing? We keep hearing about it. We say 4-7-8. Inhale for 4 seconds, keep it for 7 seconds, exhale for 8 seconds. 4-7-8. If it is not possible, if you really are anxious, 5-5-5 works as well. I breathe in for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds. They all are very important tools. We keep hearing about them, but they are very important tools to calm us down because we are already in a very heightened sense of anxiety, nervousness. They are all very helpful. Also, not directly related to this, but very helpful technique is what is called progressive muscle relaxation technique. PMRT, progressive muscle relaxation technique, again is a technique where when we are in a very anxious situation or when we are in a very situation where we are very nervous and we kind of just feel like running away, going away, talking about the same businessman, I used to request him that before your meeting, as you are going to approach your table, look for the washrooms, go to the washroom, sit down there, breathe, do some deep breathing, have some muscle relaxation technique, and then go. Trust me, he has been still doing it. I'm in touch, though we are not on therapy, but he kept sharing with me that he could get all his courage back. He was much better placed when he was meeting his new clients, and he was a much confident and happier self. So PMRT talks about the progressive muscle relaxation technique talks about moving all the muscles of your body, be it from your head or from your toe. When we move every muscle of the body, let us talk about me now. So I'm very anxious, very nervous right now. I have taken deep breath, couple of 5-5-5 techniques. I have done my grounding technique now. I'm just moving all the limbs of my body, all the muscles of my body. It helps. Trust me, do it, experience it, practice for yourself. It does make a lot of difference. I'm really sorry I took a longer time to
That's
answer
okay, ma'am. It's needed.
because these are things which can be transferred to many other sources of anxiety, triggers, many
Yes.
other things, even for examination anxiety. I've got a lot of examination anxiety cases where kids are struggling. These all help. They all help us.
Absolutely. It's very important topic. Ma'am, please don't be sorry if you take extra time. It's
Thank
absolutely
you.
fine.
Thank you.
Okay. What positive habits can one develop to improve their self-esteem? How to react to people when you've been constantly being body shamed or treating you differently based on your skin color, weight, etc.
Okay, so now self esteem. Self esteem is not something which is built in a day, right? Self esteem, confidence is something where the environment plays a very important role. Nature and nurture, right? I have been born in an environment where there was a lot of stimulation, positive stimulations, and I go on to become a very confident person, go on to become a person who has got high self-esteem. But what about people who have not had the privilege of having a very stimulating, nurturing environment? What about them? So now, how do I work on my self-esteem? I somehow still feel self-esteem can be a skill, and so it kind of gives me a good feeling for people to make them feel that, oh, I lack self-esteem, I'm not a confident person, does not mean that I can never be confident. It's a skill. How you learn languages, how you learn a new dish, how you learn a new skill, same in the same way you can be more confident, you can be more confident, you can have higher self-esteem. So now when we talk about this, identify your strengths. Sit down, think about it. What you are, who you are, what are your strong points? Because definitely there will be many strong points in you which you might not have identified. Look into those stronger points. They define you, not your inadequacies. So that is something which is going to help you. Strong points. Now, very, very common thing is we start comparing ourselves to other. And when we are comparing ourselves to others, what happens is it gives us or it brings us in a position where we feel, ah, I'm not good enough. So, if possible, stop comparing ourselves to others. If you're comparing, let that comparison only be a yardstick or a milestone to improve myself, not somebody, not something to belittle myself. Stop comparing yourself, stop belittling yourself, because when we compare, most of the times we start belittling ourselves. Okay, I think I'm not good enough. Look at that person. Oh, she looks so beautiful. She's so good. She's always confident. People love her more. People love the way he talks. But then I also have so many qualities, so I reaffirm my qualities to myself. Positive self-talk. Now, now everyone is talking about self-affirmations. Everyone is talking about positive self-talk. What is it and does it work? It does work, trust me. It's again a journey. I always say, once in a week, let us work on one positive affirmation for myself. This week, I'm going to tell myself that Shalini, because I can never make a perfect round chapatis, I'll tell myself that Shalini, you are going to make perfect round chapatis, and even if you're not able to, you're a good cook. I reaffirm myself. I just tell myself. So every single time when I go into the kitchen and I'm disappointing myself with not the perfect round ones, I tell myself, hey, you are making it. They're all puffed, they're properly cooked. I'm reaffirming myself. I'm giving myself a good praise about what I have done. I'm not telling myself, hey, see, you failed yourself, you could not do it again. Self affirmation is a very powerful technique. There is a lot of talk also going about positive psychology. Unless we dive deeper into it, we will only be a bystander. Your strong points, identify your strong points. Stop comparing yourself because we will belittle ourselves. Start positive affirmations every week or twice in a month. Tell yourself you are powerful, you are somebody who is going to love yourself, you are somebody who is loved by others. It's, you will see it will start happening. And self esteem also comes when you start loving yourself. Self love, self care, this is also something which is very very important. Many a times we are always a giver giver giver, but we don't take care of ourselves. When we are not able to take care of ourselves, how will I respect myself? How will I boost myself up? Because I've always had uh, an ability, or I've always kind of, brought up an environment where I am the last one to think about myself. I've always been a giver. No, that's not right. And when you're loving yourself, does not mean that you are not loving others. When you're loving yourself, you will see that you are going to love others even more. And very important thing is start making boundary. This is something which is very important. It does a lot of good to you. You cannot always be a yes 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 man to others. It does not keep pleasing others. We always feel that if I'm somebody who is assertive, if I'm somebody who says no, others will be very upset about it, or I'll not feel good about it myself. Oh my god, no. I said no. No, start making boundaries. Start being assertive, because it means that you have started respecting yourself. When I'm not respecting myself, how can others respect me? When I'm not loving myself, how and why should I expect others to love me? So everything starts from self love. Lot and lot is being talked about self love, positive psychology. There are a lot of Instagram reels made on that. Trust me, they all, I'm not saying something is true or not true, but it is something which can be experienced. Start on this journey of self love. You will see you will be a better giver, you will be a happier person. Everyone will be attracted to you. Physical appearances, they all will take a backseat. And when it comes to your body, your images, do what feels good to you. Wear what clothes you feel like wearing. Wear what you feel will look good on you. Leave the others. It's again a journey. How easy it can be for the others to just sit down and give gyan to you. But you know what? It's a small step. Start doing it. Look into your stronger points. That is going to be a thrust which you need. And we all have strong points. I have many inadequacies, but you know what? I have many strong points as well. And I thrive on that.
Yes, ma'am. How can individuals effectively manage extreme anger, anxiety, insecurity, and feelings of instability during their menstrual days, which often lead to overreactions and heightened emotional responses?
Yeah. So, PMS, premenstrual syndrome, is something which is very common. And research says, statistics says 3 out of 4 women do experience mild to moderate or some few, very few severe cases of severe symptoms of this. So, this is very common, quite common now. So what do we do? Two ways. Now the first thing is, if this is becoming a limiting situation for my life, if during those 6, 5, 4 days of my every month are becoming days when I'm very vulnerable to any emotional outburst, or when I feel very low, I feel very depressed, I'm very irritable, angry, so that I end up doing something which I regret later, communicate to people, be aware of that. i'm not going to I'm going to communicate to people about my not being emotionally very best. Okay, so I communicate to people that right now I think I'm going to take a short break. I'll come back to you when I'm in a mood to. So communication is very important with at least your family members or with people who are close to. Now also, if this is something which is a recurrent thing, you definitely need to see a doctor, because there are things which can be worked around PMS, because this can be a limiting condition. Also, a general schedule of a very balanced life with calcium rich food, whole grains. Few food items which are very helpful is green beans, egg, lentils, beetroot. Consumption of these helps during PMS. Getting adequate sleep and rest is very important. We undermine the importance of these, but they are very important. Less distractions, enough rest, shut down the close everything, have some hot liquid, have some hot sweets, watch a movie, be with yourself, tell others that right now I just am in a state where I'm going to be with myself. It is definitely going to do good to you. But also, if it is a limiting condition, happens, worries you all every time in a month, definitely you need to see a doctor.
Okay. I'm depressed most of the time. How do I deal with this? How do I cope with anxiety related to exams? I think you've spoken about the anxiety part, ma'am.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
5 or does it have another answer to this?
Yeah, so I'm depressed most of the time. How do I deal with this? And how do I cope with I if both the questions are interrelated, depression again can be a condition where it can be a condition which needs a intervention, a professional intervention. So if somebody has uh, okay, depression, I feel always has been one of the most overused or misused term, right? So technically there are markers for depression. We so frequently hear, I'm depressed, he was depressed, she's depressed. But what are the conditions, what how is somebody diagnosed with depression? And there are different types of depression. I'm not going to go into that right now, but look out for a professional help, seek out a professional help if you feel that this is a condition which is limiting your life. When we say limiting your life, what happens? Limiting your life is when your performance is hampered, when you feel very low, when you feel very hopeless about the future, when you are not able to have a good sleep, when your appetite either goes up when you overeat, or when your appetite goes very low, we are not able to socially connect with people. These are all markers for us to understand. And if you have certain conditions, similar conditions for more than 2 weeks, it can be a good decision to seek a professional help, because that does need help. There are tools around it. Now coming to the second part of the exam anxiety, as I was talking, when I was talking about the social anxiety as to exam anxiety, is again a very common condition, especially post COVID, where we had the option of giving online exams, where the portions were cut, where it was all very simple. And the first batch after the COVID exam, you wouldn't believe, I had so many calls, because students were all kind of very very messed up, because they had students used would tell me that, ma'am, I have developed this habit of cheating, because I'll open my Google, I'll be looking at the answers, I don't know what to do, I'm going to fail, all those things. So exam anxiety, what helps? Plan your study. Always have a plan, either a weekly plan or a daily plan or a bi-weekly plan. Know your syllabus very well. When you know what syllabus you are going to study, know your blueprint very well. Blueprint is when you know that this particular topic or chapter carries certain marks. So a planned smart study is when a particular topic has more marks, spend more time into that versus topic which has lesser marks. This is smart study, right? Have a scheduled study time, have a scheduled space where you study. This is very important. Research also proves this. So there are students who come who tell me that, ma'am, I studied all the places, one day in my dad's room, one day in my study room. No, I always request them, stick to a study schedule and a time, place, because you know your whole system is aligned there. You know that when you are going to your study table or when you are going to a particular place designated for study, you will be much more focused there. This helps. And have frequent breaks. Very important to have frequent breaks, because we cannot be focused for a very long period of time. So take frequent breaks. Give rewards to yourself. Always have reward, because you have finished a particular portion, a particular chapter, you are online with the plan. Reward yourself. Take breaks. It all helps. It really helps in exam anxiety. Practice more, revise more, learn more, have different modalities of study. Now we talk a lot about learning styles. Identify what is your learning style. Are you a good auditory learner, which means that are you somebody who can learn more by hearing a video, by of course looking at a video, or by hearing some voice notes? Be somebody, then use that. Are you somebody who is more about a visual learner, who is good by looking at the notes? Do that. Are you somebody who is a kinesthetic or a mixed learner, where you integrate everything? I see, I look, I practice. Identify your learning style, and then use it when you are learning. That can also accentuate your learning. I hope I
Okay.
answered it.
Yes, ma'am. How to reduce overthinking?
Okay. So overthinking is also something which bothers a lot. Overthinking can be an asset, because it can prepare you for things well in advance, but overthinking can also be something which can, again, limit your life. I've been using this word limit your life is because overthinking can be a trait where you tend to think and think and think and ruminate over things, future, past, present, so that your present life is affected. So this can be something which can be very, very debilitating, which can be very disturbing. Now, it can also become a trait, so much so that I have just become an overthinker. Now, if I have identified that I am an overthinker, I need to work on it. First thing, take deeper breath. So, when you realize that you are going to, certain thought has come to your mind, I definitely need to work on that. I start with deeper breath. I talked about deep breathing. 555, 478. They all work beautifully, trust me. Inhale, hold on for some time, exhale. Because when you are inhaling and when you are holding on, when you are exhaling, your nervous system is calmer. The overthinking loop is stopped. That really helps. Also, distract yourself. Now, there are many times when we say be with your fear, it works. Many times it does not work. Distract yourself. Now that I know this particular thought is going to bring me into a situation where I'll be so fearful, I'll be going into the vicious cycle, I will be very mindfully trying to distract myself. What can be a distractor? Distractors can be a walk around in the green, listen to some music, watch a movie, mindfully aware, being mindfully aware of the fact that this is something which is going to worry me, so I'm going to distract myself. Also, journaling helps. When we are writing down the thoughts, we might see a pattern, the bigger picture. I'm talking about the bigger picture. It might help us that we realize over a period of time, I have a pattern of thinking, a pattern of overthinking. There are certain things where I tend to think more versus things where I don't, I'm able to let go. So as you're journaling, you might be able to identify the patterns, think about them, work on them. Also, one of the strategies which when I share with my people, with my counselors or client, they initially laugh at it, but it is a very powerful technique is worry time. So people who have overthinking habit or who are worriers, right? Who over worry all the time. We set aside a worry schedule. What is a worry schedule? Set aside 8 p.m. every day, every day 8 p.m. as a worry time. So 8 p.m. to 8:15 p.m. is when I am going to worry. Now, what does it mean? How does it work? So now I have woken up and the first thought, oh, it's 6:30, my cook has not come. Oh, my cook has not come. So, oh, I have to cook this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And then a chain of worrisome thoughts. Why? Because this is affected, this is affected. Or it can be anything. Now, the moment that worrying thought has come, or let us say a professional, I'm stuck in a traffic and I'm not able to reach on time, and that's a worrying thought. Oh, my boss will be very upset. He'll not give me promotion. This will be screwed. That will be screwed. All things. Worry is it's a monkey jumps. It keeps jumping from one branch to the other. So the moment I'm aware of my worry, hey, you know what? This is not my worry time. 8 p.m. is my worry time. So I'm going to keep it for 8 p.m. Now I have gone, I have reached in the office. Actually, I was on time. Thank God. And now I'm going to present. Oh, something wrong with my system. Now what to do? Again, something will happen. Worry can keep coming anytime, every time from all around. Every single time it hits me, I'm going to tell myself 8 p.m. is your worry time, not right now. No, 8 p.m. And whatever are we doing, trust me, whatever are we doing, 8 p.m., if you forget, this is what I tell my people 8 p.m., you have to put an alarm, leave everything, go sit at your place, and invite all your worries now. Oh, the cook had not come. Yeah, the cook had not come, but actually, a very basic meal, and I could survive. Nothing was affected. Yes, it was a very intense situation because there was a traffic signal, chaos, all those things, but I reached on time. Thank God I did not worry much that time. And now, as I'm talking about all my worries accumulated, worry time, all it's not a worry at all. My day passed without worry. It's a very powerful technique. It really is very funny to sound. It sounds very funny, but trust me, I when I work with people, I tell them that you have to trust me, you have to work on that. And most of them, they're all like, oh my god, it really works. And trust me, I have worked, I work myself on many things. Worrying, okay, overthinking, it's going to start. So 8 p.m. Choose a time. Do that. Do that. It's
Correct.
very
But as
powerful.
long as we don't choose morning time as our worry time and evening time only, that is, I think,
Yes.
fine. That is the
Yes.
main key
Yes.
thing to remember,
Feeling.
that
Yes.
worry time should be evening, late in the night.
Yes. 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 Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Good, ma'am. This I really loved.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is how to forgive oneself for wasting more than decade on bad relationships, depression, not being focused. Now in my 30s, it feels like I am nowhere.
Who are you? Are you somebody who is only about the relationships? Are you somebody who is had not had many things? Now let us look at the four quadrants of your life. Very important because this is a very common thing which can hit anybody, any age. So, what are the achievements in your life? Is Shiny somebody who has achieved something or not achieved something? A combination of everything. Is Sheila somebody who has achieved or not achieved? She's a combination of everything. What is defining you? So now there will always be a balance. It's just that the moments of despair, the moments of distress, we look at only the negative aspects about ourselves. So now, as the person is talking about bad relationships, does it mean that you have always had bad relationships? 10 plus 10 plus 10 years of life, 30 years of life, you definitely would have beautiful friendships in the past when you were 0 to 10 years of age. Reconnect to them maybe. There are people around you who have been with you 10 to 20, 20 to 30. Now, looking at the bigger picture, we talk about the quadrants of life, the four very important quadrants of life, which can be a definition any point in time. The first quadrant is the spiritual quadrant, then comes the mental, then comes the emotional, and then the physical. Now visualize a circle with four quadrants, right? Spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. Now, this is what is your definition. If one quadrant is weaker, does not mean that other three quadrants are weaker as well. Does not mean that you have failed. You are not somebody who is not happy. You are not somebody who has not achieved something. If you have not been doing good in relationship, it might be that you have got a very good presence with your professional friends. Maybe you are doing good professionally. Maybe you have been a good father, maybe you have been a good daughter, you maybe you have been a good mother, maybe you have been good a good friend, maybe you have been a good giver. How about you who have achieved something which you have loved to do? How about you realizing that you have had a very high quotient of emotional intelligence? Maybe you have been somebody who have been very empathetic. Okay, I have not had good relationship, but I have been somebody who was always there for somebody else. How about you who is able to sit down and see that, oh, the physical quadrant of my life is good because I have been kind of not sick. I do not have any ailments. I'm kind of moderately healthy. And as I'm talking about it, kind of happy also. So look at all the quadrants, those four quadrants, because one quadrant not so good does not define you. There are balances in the other quadrant also. So as we say, my glass is half full or half empty, right? I will say your glass is half or your glass is full, I don't know, but how I look at it is I say I already have a glass. I at least have a glass. Leave apart the half and the full part. It's how you look at it life. So hopefully the quadrant, it's a very beautiful analogy, and it is something which connects with everybody, because that is what who you are. This is what who you can be. This is what can sum up the whole human existence.
True. How can I love myself when even I would not?
Very beautiful question, because this is something which many of us can connect with. Reasons can be many. Self love. How to inculcate self love? I want to love myself, but somehow I'm not able to. Why? Maybe because you think that you're not good enough. Maybe because you think you're not capable enough. Maybe you have not identified yourself with your strong points. Shalini is not somebody who cannot do something. Shalini is also somebody who can do so many things. So start with identifying your strong points. Start with your positives. Identify and connect with your positives. Who are you? What are you good at? Because there will be many things which you are good at. List them down, embrace them, affirm them to yourself. Tell yourself that you can do it. And as you are making a note of it, you will see the positives will be more maybe than the negatives, which gives you kind of intrinsic happiness. Be with people, try to be with people who lift you up, because many a times the environment, people who you are around also matters a lot. If I'm with people who just love, who just give love, I feel I'm loved. Or if I'm with people who are for some reason not giving, not fulfilling, not thriving, I also kind of somewhere fall into the same energy trap. Come out of that. Be with somebody who lifts you up, because you also will be lifting them up. And when I lift others up, I also get lifted. So identify your positives. Look into your surroundings. Be a giver. When you give, you are going to get. Also, practicing gratitude helps. Every single day, practice gratitude. Because when you practice gratitude, what also happens is there is an element of things around your life, things around life which were good, which were beautiful, because somehow we have kind of been focusing more on what is not there than what is there. And that can be a very beautiful experience to have. Start loving yourself, do things which makes you happy, because till now maybe you were bothered, you were worrying about others, about the society. Leave that. Start saying no. Does not mean you have to say no to others all the time. No. Start saying no means be assertive. Try to be assertive when you are able to say that, you know what, right now maybe I'm not in a position to do that, I'm not in a position to answer this, I'll come back to you. What it does, it does a lot of good to you. It does. Maintain healthy boundaries, because you are protecting yourself. The moment you are protecting yourself, you are fulfilling your own inner peace. You are lifting yourself. You are going to in turn start loving yourself more and more for who you are, for what you are. Also, visualize yourself. Who do you want to be? Have a vision of yourself. How far are you from that? I always, there is one thing, I'm really sorry, this is a very personal thing. I always tell this to my husband. I'm from a different background, from an IT professional to what I'm doing right now. I don't know I have made it big. I wouldn't say I have made it big. I am making a very small, honest progress, a very beautiful progress in my profession, is what I say. I always tell my husband that I do not know where has this thought come from, but I have always visualized myself standing on a stage talking to people. Where does it come from? I do not know. Visualization. And maybe I have got chance to talk to people, right? And where does it come from? Maybe an unconscious or a subconscious self. So visualize, where do you want to be? What is the gap? How much is the gap? Are you working on that gap, or are you only cribbing? Because many a times I also crib without taking an action. Be an actor as in be somebody who is taking an action. Bridge the gap. It is no way you're not going to love yourself. You will. It's again a journey.
How can a person with low physical appearance boost their self esteem?
A very common thing when I have been made to feel not so good about myself physically, when I have been pointed fingers, or when I have been commented as you are, you know, not good to look at, not very fair, not blah blah blah. My self esteem also takes a beating. Kind of similar query, similar answer to what I was talking about when I was answering the self esteem thing, right? Is your definition only about your skin color? Who you are is not your body weight. Who you are is not your height. Who you are is not your nose. No, you are much, much more than that. You are beyond that. So start looking at what you are good at. Identify your strong points. Embrace them, because there are many things which define you, which maybe you have kind of lost count of, you're not connecting yourself with. Identify all your strong points. Again, be with people who lift you up, who are not with you because you're so and so, who just love to be with you. Do what makes you happy. Wear what makes you feel good. Because when you're talking about the physical appearance and self esteem, many a times I don't feel good wearing this, but you know what? I want to wear it. Then who is stopping you? Do what makes you feel. Color, go. If you feel that a streak is going to make you look beautiful, go. Get your piercing done anywhere if you think that it is going to make you feel good about yourself. Because they are not defining you. You are yourself, your definition. My nose is not my definition. My sunburn, my pigmentation on my forehead is not my definition. It's your worry, not me. I'm beautiful. So I have to look at myself, my strong points, without worrying about it. Easier said than done? Yes. So how do we start? Note down things, your strong points, be with people, discard people who are not going to lift you up. They are not meant for you. They are not. And start giving again. Be a giver, because the moment you are going to give, you get back a lot. Trust me on that. Gratitude helps again to improve the self esteem. Positive psychology is something which lot of people are talking about, and lot of money is being funded into studies of positive psychology. Gratitude is something which we talk a lot about. And trust me, it is not something which we should read or a good piece of information. No, it all is something which one should experience and see the beauty of it. When you practice gratitude, you realize they are all coming to you, through you, and you become the more beautiful self.
True. Okay. After being diagnosed with a neurodevelopmental disorder as an adult, I'm quite unsure of how to embrace that part of me. There's a change of identity from quirky, unique, neurotypical to neurodiverse, but everything remains the same around me, which continues to put me at a disadvantage. I feel like I'm being restricted to explore my full potential. I feel like I'm forced to continue live in a society where people like me are not welcomed unless we act normal. How do I deal with this change?
So now I work with a lot of neurodiverse teenagers and adults. There are
Sorry,
a lot
ma'am.
of,
Sorry to cut you short, but could you explain in very
yeah,
briefly what
yeah,
neurodiverse?
yeah.
Because
So
many of
yes,
us are not.
neurodiverse, yeah, yeah. Special need population.
Okay.
Yeah, special need population. So now I would say India is kind of becoming more aware of conditions like autism spectrum disorder, ADSD, cerebral palsy, dyslexia, dyspraxia, learning
Okay.
disability, learning difficulty. So these are all, they all fall into the umbrella of neurodiversity.
Hmm.
Now there is a lot of stigma attached to neurodiverse population. There is still, I would not say stigma as such. There is still a lot of education to be done, a psychoeducation to be done to the environment, to the people around, that neurodiverse, somebody who's neurodiverse doesn't make them weaker, doesn't make them somebody who is not equipped, somebody who is not as good as we are. No, we somehow in Indian society, because of lack of awareness, we tend to look down on them. And so there is a kind of lot of people around who do not want to come out in the open and talk about it. It is not a state where you feel okay, I'm disabled. No, it's just how we are wired. It's just a state of self, right? I would say when we talk about neurodiversity, there are a lot of strong points also. So now coming back to this specific question of somebody who maybe has been is an adult who is diagnosed recently. Constantly I'm working with two adults who have been diagnosed recently, and they themselves are having their own, I would say, turmoil or a journey of how to deal with it, how to communicate to parents, how to communicate to the partners or the friends. So we are kind of working on it. So now this does not make you disabled, this doesn't make you less capable. Very important for us to know what makes me feel, who makes me feel less capable. Maybe my own thought around me, or maybe environment around me. Am I with people who are kind of judging me for who I am or who I am not? Then maybe it is time that I kind of just be away from such people, right? I have to sit down and talk about my own strong points. I have to be my self advocate. Self advocacy is very important for a person who is a neurodiverse adult. Does it come so easily? Does it come so effortlessly? It does not. It's a journey again. So, coming back to a person who has kind of been recently diagnosed to be a neurodiverse, to be a specially abled person, not a disabled, specially abled, I would say, give them time, take time for yourself. Acquaint yourself with your strong points. Educate yourself with what are the options for your life, because life has not ended. It's just that you look at things in a different way, maybe not everything. And right now, as I'm talking about the neurodiverse population, I'm working with two very high profile individuals who are neurodiverse. They're professionally very well settled, much more than many of us. Are they less capable? No, they are not less capable. So identify your strengths again and be with people who you can communicate with. If there are people around who make you feel not good about who you are, if there are people who make you feel inadequate, who judge you for who you are, I think you just have to just be away from them. Self advocacy is very important. I have to stand for myself. Connect to a professional if need be, who can equip you with tools how to be an advocate for your own condition, who can give you enough information about the rights you have, because you are specially abled, maybe more abled, not disabled, because there is still a lot of awareness drive to be done. We still don't know much about the neurodiverse population because we are so tunnel visioned. Okay, neurodiverse means future is andhera. It is not. They are much better than many of us. They have a lot of beauties inside. It's just that we have not opened the door to them. Open the door. But coming back to this particular question, be your self advocate. Be with people who you can thrive on. Completely be away from people who judge you for who you are, because that is not. And identify your strong points, because trust me, you will have a lot of strong points. You will have.
I think most of what what can be done from within, which is in our control, is to go away from toxic people who are too
Yes.
judgmental
Yes.
and be more aware of our strengths. I think that would remove most, at least I think at least 40%
Of
of the battle won. You know, the half of the
yes.
battle, or as they say, but I would say 40% of the battle, mental battle, will be won if we get
Yeah.
away from toxic people who put us down and belittle us, and instead be with people who kind of lift us up. And in fact, I think we should ourselves be more of those kind who lift other people up
Yes.
rather than putting the people down.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's
Be
how
a
we
giver.
attract
Yes. Yes. Be a
more
giver,
of
I
the
think.
strength.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Right?
That's really, that's a fact. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
ma'am, there are few more questions which have
Yeah.
come up in the query form. Do you have the time to take them up?
Yeah, we can do for some more minutes if we are not respecting others, if others are okay with it.
Yeah, because there are few more. In fact, I think after they heard you explain, there are quite a number of questions that have come up. So I'll ask when you feel that, you know, it's enough, no more time. I mean, you don't have any more time. You just tell me to stop. I
Sure,
will
sure,
stop.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one moment, ma'am. I'll just open it up. Yeah. So one of the question is, I lost my mother 2 years back. Since then, I feel extreme envy towards my elder sister because she has her kids, husband, and in-laws who take care of her. She possibly cannot experience that amount of shatteredness which me and my father are facing, since me, my mom, and dad used to live in the same house together. Also, I don't have any go to friendship relationships to rely on. I'm focusing on my career. I'm 21 years. How can I deal with this loneliness coming by seeing my sister and support she gets? Also, the lack of friendship and relationship exaggerate that pain even more.
Okay. Yeah. So now coming back to this specific question only. Looks like 2 years now. So I also specialize in grief counseling. Now, grief, right? Grief is a very big, it's an umbrella term. It's a very big, I would say, an umbrella. Grief can be a bereavement, grief can be a loss of an ability, grief can be a loss of a body part. Couple of months back, I was dealing with an adult who had left, who has lost his left arm in an accident. Grief can also be loss of a pet. Grief can be loss of a toy for a child, a favorite toy, right? Grief can be loss of a friend also. So grief. Now coming back to this lady who, to the person who has asked this question, 2 years is, I wouldn't say, for grief there is no time frame. There is no time frame that okay, 6 months after the bereavement of somebody in my family I should be okay, or 3 months or 1 year is a good enough time for me to recover and come back to my life. No, it cannot be. It's not possible that everyone follows the same pattern. Now talking about this girl, there are many things which has happened in her life. Mother, the purest bond, right? She has lost her mother. Her sister, because she has her own life, a parallel existence where she has her family. So even though she's grieving or she's not grieving, she might be grieving as well, but she has her responsibilities towards other, her work, her family commitments. So she is assigned to do that. She has to do that. Now she is left alone. She feels that I do not have many friends. I do not have people who I can reach out to. She definitely has to reach out to a mental health professional, because 2 years is a long enough time where we can come to terms. I'm not saying that she has not come to terms with it, but when we talk about grief and professional health, grief itself has a cycle. There are stages of grief. There are 7 stages of grief. When we work with grief cases, when we work with bereavement cases, we psychoeducate people about all the 7 stages of grief. And also, very important is when we talk about the 7 stages, stage 1 to 7, it is not always linear. It might happen that after the bereavement of somebody, the first stage is shock. I'm completely in shock. Then comes denial. Then comes anger. So there are different stages. It also happens that I'm in a stage of shock, but then I can also go to stage 7, which is depression. I can also from stage 7 come to stage 2. It is never linear. So she definitely needs to seek professional help, because along with the fact that she is still grieving the loss of her mother, I'm not saying, I'm definitely not at all judging her that she's feeling jealous of her sister. No, it's a very beautiful bond. She just is feeling helpless that she doesn't have a family where she can have, where she can spend time, when she can give and just get love. So there are parallel things also developing. It means that she has to have other support system, a professional support system where she needs to come out of this. She has tried, definitely, she would have tried all her might, she would have given all her best, but I think it is time for her to seek a professional help. I have limited time where I could explain all the modality, otherwise, this is a very short span of time where I can educate her about it. But looking at the time frame, looking at the situation which is written here, a professional help definitely will be helpful here right now. And let her not feel bad about being jealous. I think it's, she's so honest about it. I feel very happy that you have written that, whoever is written, she's just jealous. It's very, we all might feel, it's a very, jealousy can be a very honest feeling, a very pure feeling, and when you're expressing it, I think it's a very beautiful expression.
Okay. Ma'am, there's another one. I'm unable to take decisions of my life because of fear of lot of things and even afraid of committing suicide.
Okay, what are the fears around? Have you been judged a lot? Have you been brought up in an environment where there was a lot of judgment around your mistakes, where you were never allowed to take decisions in your life, where every mistake which you had done, you were kind of either criticized or scolded. Now, coming from such backgrounds, we tend to become somebody who's not very confident enough to take decisions. I have worked with adults who, when we are diving deeper into our situations, realize that they are not good decision makers, or they actually do not have the courage to take decisions. They think and think and think, they cannot be decision makers. Comes from a lot of things, maybe from the environment you are. So think about it, are you from that environment? Second is, what is the fear? There might be a fear attached to it. What is the fear? Fear of failure. Then, what is the fear of failure? Are you ashamed that you will be called a failure by others, or will you be telling yourself or judging yourself that, see, I am again a failure? Is the judgment around self judgment, or is it the environment who is judging you? Third thing is, tackle the fear. What is the fear? What is going to happen when we say tackle the fear? A very beautiful technique which we use, and also a very powerful technique, is, it is called, which can be used across many issues, is a double column technique. So now I have to make a decision. I have to take a decision A and decision B, and I'm very confused. I just do not know, because I don't know. I might not be able to take the right decision. I might be taking a decision which is going to be a big failure. So I use a double column technique. I tackle my fear. How do I tackle my fear? I write all my fears: fear A, fear B, fear C, fear D. I journal all my fears. And then when I'm journaling my fear, when I'm writing down my fear, I look at, are my fears valid? Where are my fears coming from? My fears, are they coming from my past experiences, or are they coming from just my thought? Are they just my imaginations? When you are tackling your fears, what is double column technique? Fear A? Fear A is I am going to fail again. What is going to happen? Tackle, answer your fear, challenge your fear. Challenge. What will happen if you fail again? My friends will laugh at me. Tackle it again, challenge. What will happen if your friends laugh at me? They'll again tell me that you are a loser. They'll all leave me and go. What will happen if they lose you? I'll have less friends. What will happen if you have less friends? Keep challenging your fear. If you have less friends, I'll have nobody to go to. I'll be lonely. But then, are they your real friends? Are they good to be with you because they are telling you that you are a loser just because you have taken a decision which did not work in your favor? Dive deeper. Always challenge your fear because there might be in the past situations where you have been judged for your fear, where you have been judged for your mistakes, or there has been judgment around you. The second part of the question is when you said that I feel. What was the second part of the question, Srila, please?
Srila, you're
Because
muted.
okay, because of fear of a lot of things and even afraid of committing suicide.
Yeah. So is it because there has been, you know what happens consistently when I am not able to decide for my thing, for my future, for my course of actions, there is a sense of inaccomplishment. I feel less adequate. I have things to do, I have decisions to make, and every single time I'm either not able to proceed forward because of the fear of failure or I'm clouded. And that continuously keeps happening, and I reach a stage where I just don't feel good about myself. And I just feel suicidal because I'm just nobody. There is nothing around me. There is nothing good about me around me. So there is a lot of self judgment. So I would say identify your strong points again. Look at why are you not able to make decisions? What is the reason of your failure? The fear. Tackle your fear. Use the double column technique. It's a very strong technique. I always say write it down. We always many a times we say no, I'll do it in my mind. No, trust me, I work with professional, I work with people, adults who are high achievers also. I make them do this exercise, and it really works. They come back to me saying that actually it worked. When you tackle your fears, when you challenge your fear, you realize that half of the time it was just your imagination. It actually was just an imagination, it just was a thought. It never happened. And then take smaller step. Break it down. Don't take the bigger goal. Don't take the bigger decisions. Take small decisions. Take decisions which you are good at. Identify that because that is going to boost your morale because you are maybe low on morale right now. So take smaller steps, accomplish that, feel happy about that, and then take the next step. Every small step counts. The small steps become a bigger ladder, right? And that will
Correct.
definitely help you.
Okay. Ma'am, another one is I'm living alone for 12 years and it has affected my health in a bad way. I don't stay happy or enjoy my life. I'm always sad and depressed.
So now they are depressed. Is it because the person is staying alone? So we have to understand what is the reason of depression. What is the reason of this person feeling lonely? Is it because they are staying alone? We have to identify this. Depression, as I had told earlier, is a very big bucket. It's a very big umbrella term. Depression can be because of many things. Dive deeper now. Let us say somebody comes to you saying that, you know what, I have been lonely for 12 years. I don't have friends. I just feel very depressed. I think I've had nothing in my life. Identify yourself, who you are. You're depressed because you're lonely, because you're living alone. Then target that. Why are you living alone? Dive deeper. Always dive deeper. Why are you living alone? You're living alone maybe because you don't have a partner, because you took a decision of living alone, or because you have not found the right partner. Reasons can be many. Or many other things which we are not aware of. Work on those reasons. If you think that actually you right now, you have crossed the age of where you would want to be a partner, or maybe there were life situations where you had to decide to be alone, to be living alone, then there are other channels where you can be socially active. There would be other channels where you can pursue your passions. There will be other areas where you can meet people, be with people, hang on with people who are like minded, hang on with people who are having similar interests, similar values, so that I'm able to kind of give very specific reply. But a bigger reply can be, a bigger picture can be, hang on with a similar minded people, similar minded group of people, identify your passion. Are you away from your passion? Are you living your life in a very monotonous way? Have you been able to balance your life? Because your life is not only your work, your life is also what you love. Are you not doing what you love? Are you not able to spend time doing what you would have wanted to do? Go back to that, do that, because many a times we say, I have time, I have time, I loves to watch theater. Go once in a week. You can do that. Once in a month, you can do that. If you're somebody who is a bookworm, who used to love books, but now, because I do not have time, I do not want to do it, I don't get time, I don't read it, no, you would have time. One page, 2 pages in a day, you can do it. So reignite your passion, identify your passion, which you think, because of you being lonely, you are not getting time. I think the moment you're able to reconnect, there will be connections in your life, there will be people in your life, there will be some kind of social activity in your life, there will be some volunteering in your life. How about going to NGOs? How about reaching out to old age homes? How about, again, as I say, how about giving something to people, where you can just go give and get back? Because maybe as you have been staying lonely, we are kind of living a limited life. How about now breaking this whole shackle and coming out in the open? Try that, take action, but identify what is stopping you from that.
Okay.
So one last question if we have, Sheila.
Yes, ma'am. One last question. I think because so for those whose answers, whose questions have not yet been answered, I think it would always be nice if you can ask the questions at the time when we send out the form, so that it's easier for us also to block that much of time with our, mental health expert. We tend to have voice your worries once in a quarter, sometimes once in 4 months, depending upon the kind of, the questions that we get and the number of questions that we get. So, one last question I will ask, and then probably the remaining questions, I will keep it for the next voice your worries that we have. So, ma'am, there's one which says that I'm doing really good in my career and I'm preparing for PG entrance exam. But one of my friend who isn't from my field is not at all focused about hers. Sometimes I feel that friend's choices doesn't match with mine, and I feel that the friend mocks me or constantly mocks me to get into relationships like her. Should I completely break off ties with her because this exam that I'm about to give is very, very important for my career, and she can't understand my choices and I can't explain it to her? Sometimes I felt emotional response and bad about she's saying or poking me for being like her. How to deal with such emotional response? I don't have much friends apart from her, but again, I think I won't drink poison just because I am thirsty.
Ah, very good. So I think she has the answer. Priority. Set your priority right now. What is your priority? You wouldn't drink the poison right now, right? So your priority, as I understand from what is the question, your priority is your career. Your priority is right now your education, your PG exam. So do that. Focus on that. Now you do not have friends, or you do not have many friends. Reasons can be many. But when your priority is set, you know what is to be done, what needs to be done. So we always have to weigh our options. When my priority is a friend or a career, and right now I feel my career is very important, my education is very important, my higher education is important, I'm definitely going to be the one who is going to choose it. I'm not saying choose over friendship. You can balance it out. One answer can be priority. So you are kind of, one comes in, your career comes in, the other goes out. The other question, the other answer can be balance out. How do I balance out? I sit down with my friend and communicate that, you know what, I really respect you, I love you, you are my good friend, and I love our bonding, and I really, really, really want to cherish it forever. But there are parts of you which I feel doesn't make me feel happy. There are things around you, when you poke your nose around me, or when you say such things, I just feel very bad about it, or I feel sad about it. What can be the reason? Are you having a friendship? Are you having such a bond where you're able to easily communicate with her? If you are, then it's worth keeping. Work on that, but communicate first. If you have been able to communicate, and if you see that the friend comes back to you saying that, you know what, actually thank you so much for this, because I got your point, then she is your friend. Stay with her for sure. But communicate, prioritize your communication, and then the reciprocation from her is going to be very important in you either keeping her intact with you or not. I hope I've answered that
Ma'am,
question.
sorry, one last question which I
Yeah,
felt
yeah.
is kind of important and different from all the other
Yes,
questions that have
yes.
been asked is how to deal with adult bullying. I think this is one question which we have not answered in all, with respect to the rest of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's one, this question is how to deal with adult bullying. If you can just, this is
Any
the last
others?
question.
Yeah, so adult bullying. Now, adult bullying is something which is, I would say, unheard of, or people do not talk about it, or it comes out in different segments. It comes out with different flavors or different intonations, right? Adult bullying can happen at workplace, in relationships, in marriages, it can happen in colleges, it can happen at in any industry, right? So what is it, and how to come out of it, or how to voice, and what to do if I'm being bullied, what to do? Identify what is happening. First is, bullying is something which is never going to be accepted, it should never be accepted, right? So now identify who is the person who is bullying you first. Second thing is, are you supposed to be the one who is to be in this situation? Because many a times in corporates, let us say, now when there is a corporate environment and there are your, we hear a lot of stories around bosses who are not good. Does it mean that every time I do not have a very good boss, I'm going to leave my work and join another company, I'm going to leave my company? It does not, it is not possible. So identify the fact that, are you supposed to be in this situation, or can you leave the situation? Because leaving is not a solution. I cannot keep leaving every single time I'm bullied, right? So now I have to stand for myself. Identify the person who's doing it. Second is, stand for yourself. Why are you being bullied? What is the reason? Identify the reasons. Am I being bullied because I'm very submissive? Am I being bullied because I do not voice myself? Am I being bullied because of XYZ reason? Identify those reasons. If you are somebody who is very submissive, work on that. Start being assertive. Start being somebody who is more vocal. Work on that. You know what, Srila, I work with many people. I work with adults who have come to me with certain cases, with certain situations. And when we have started working together, we have realized that everything is because all the situation comes down to the fact that they are completely non-assertive in workplace. And that is something which, so being assertive or being non-assertive, being assertive is a very important thing. So when you are able to voice yourself, when you're able to make your presence felt, do you think you are going to be heard more? You're not going to be targeted anymore. It means you have identified. Also, tit for tat. I'm really sorry. This is a very direct approach. If you think that this is the person who is kind of always targeting you, you are being bullied by a certain segment of people or a certain person, sit down with them. Have the courage to sit down and confront them. Confront them. Now, is it as easy as it sounds? No, because what if your boss is the person who is bullying you? What if your teacher, I've had I have so many students who come to me with, my teacher is very bad, ma'am. She bullies me. She's really not good. Now, what do I do with such cases? Do I say that, okay, go back to your teacher and confront her? No. What I do with them is I prepare them that, you know what, go back, talk to your teacher, say that, ma'am, I think you do not like me. Are there things which you do not like in me? I would want to work on. Talk to her, communicate to her. Now, adult bullying we are talking about, right? Approach your person who is your boss, who happens to be the person who is bullying you. Approach them, talk to them. Can you have a conversation with them? Many times, no, bosses, and you're going back, oh my god, it is not going to happen. Then have a very, I would say, scripted conversation. I have prepared people for that. Have a scripted conversation where you are able to sit down and try to understand what is happening. Why are you being targeted? Is it because of something you said somewhere? You said something, did something, that you are being targeted? You might get your answer. Have a script in your mind where you're not going to offend your bullier, where you do not rub them on the wrong side, because you still have to survive. You cannot keep escaping. So identify, stand up for yourself. If it happens to be a situation where you cannot escape, confront, either confront or have a very subtle, scripted, thought through conversations. Think through. This is going to be your question, this is going to be his answer. Think through, script, work in your mind. I do it. I have done it with people who I work with, so that, they have certain questions, the answer might be this or the answer might be this, so that we're able to understand, why am I being targeted? And if possible that there is if possible that you can just walk away from such people, confront and walk away, never look back on them, but stand up for yourself. Identify, why are you being. Is there a pattern that you are being bullied again and again? Because I, in my practice, have also come across people who are being targeted again and again. And then we have identified reasons for that. Is it happening to you also? Identify, sit down, think, what is the reason? Introspect. Seek professional help if it is limiting your life. If it is really bothering, if it is making you feel very unhappy with your life, unhappy and sad and lonely and frustrated.
Ma'am, do you do online consultations also, or it is just face to face that you prefer?
So, Sheila, the positives of COVID has been this. So, I have my 90% clients who are online.
Online. Okay.
I also have people who have been here. I have had people who are very much in Bangalore, because I'm based out of Bangalore,
Hmm.
who have come to me once and they're like, I have connected with you and I just do not feel like coming because I didn't escape. So I have online consultations, most of them, and
Okay.
I
Okay,
think it is
that's
equally
great
good.
news. That's
Equally
great
good.
news for us.
Equally good. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for having answered. I love the fact that you answered and then summarized at the end of the answer also. So you made my life
Thank you so
much
much for this.
easier.
Thank
And
you
ma'am,
so much.
all the clarity that you give. I loved your worry time. I am so gonna tell this to all my students.
Uh,
That is so
it
good.
works. It works beautifully. Trust me.
I'm going to
Yeah.
use it for myself.
I have been working. There are things, that's what they say, don't preach unless you practice. There
Yeah.
are few things which I practice. I have worked, and I give example because I have worked and I have able to kind of conquer few of my worries also using that. So
Yeah.
that's a
Wonderful.
tested, time tested thing.
And
Yes.
I'm very patiently, there were like so many queries and you patiently answered. So
Yeah,
thank you
thank you,
so
thank you,
much.
thank
And
you, and
everybody on this call, thank you so much for
yeah, thank
staying
you
till the
to
end.
others for staying for very long, and thank you
Yeah.
to both your sisters for your time, for your effort and energy. Thank you, everybody. I wish you both all the best always.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone. Just
See you.
want to let you know next Saturday we are having an offline thing here in Kochi whereby it's an art therapy in Subhash Park. So if anybody is from Kochi, you're welcome to come. It's in a public park, Subhash Park. We are having an art therapy by an art therapist from Israel. Thank you. Bye. Have a beautiful weekend.
Beautiful weekend.